of the facility today. Mr. Kyari was joined by the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, among other officials. Despite initial projections for its mechanical completion by the first quarter of 2024, as stated by the NNPCL spokesman Olufemi Shoneye, the facility is now operational ahead of schedule.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has expressed his profound joy at the reopening of the Warri Refining and Petrochemical Company by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. A statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, described the development as another remarkable achievement in 2024 that has strengthened Nigerians' hope in his administration. President Tinubu noted with confidence that with the 125,000 barrels per day Warri refinery now operating at 60% capacity, his administration's comprehensive plan to ensure energy efficiency and security is entirely on course. He praised the Mele Kyari-led management of the NNPCL for working hard to restore Nigeria's glory and pride as a major oil-producing country. President Tinubu enjoined NNPCL to accelerate repair work on Kaduna Refinery and the 150,000 barrel per day second refinery in Port Harcourt to consolidate Nigeria's position as a global energy provider.
President Bola Tinubu has consented to a proposal to establish a federal university in southern Kaduna. Vice President Kashim Shettima revealed this at the weekend during a condolence visit to the Kuka family on the death of Johanna Kuka, the Agwam Akulu of Ikulu Chibdom. The Vice President's spokesperson, Stanley Nkwocha, revealed this in a statement today. Vice President Shettima also disclosed that there are ongoing discussions to establish a federal medical center in Kafancha, Kaduna State. Speaking at the residence of the late traditional ruler, the Vice President emphasized the commitment of the President Tinubu administration to the development of southern Kaduna. He pledged that the federal government will work with the state government to ensure development reaches southern Kaduna, particularly in road infrastructure.
The African Development Bank, AFDB, has approved $2.2 billion fund for the development of special agro-industrial process zone in Nigeria. The Director General of AFDB Nigeria Office, Abdul Kamara, disclosed this in Lagos. He said specifically from next year, the mobilization and construction on site will start in 7 states, which are FCT, Cross River, Ogun, Oyo, Kaduna, Kano, and Kwara states. According to him, though the Special Agro-Industrial Process Zone was approved by the AFDB board in 2021, the project is picking up after startup delays attributed to several factors.
As year 2025 approaches, Nigerians have expressed hope for a year marked by improvements in governance, economic stability, and social services. Okay, I think I skipped a story. Let me go back. And excuse me, please. The World Bank has released a $1.5 billion loan to Nigeria following the federal government's implementation of a few of its economic reforms, including removing fuel subsidies and introducing tax policies. According to a document released by the world's apex bank, the $1.5 billion loan disbursed to Nigeria was structured in 2 tranches with different maturity periods. The first tranche was a $750 million credit from the International Development Association, featuring a 12-year maturity and a 6-year grace period. The second tranche, a $750 million loan from the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, has a 24-year repayment period with an 11-year grace period. The first tranche of $750 million was disbursed on July 2, 2024, while the second tranche, tied to the fulfillment of specific economic reform conditions was disbursed in November 2024. The World Bank commended the government for not only meeting the condition but exceeding expectations by fully deregulating the fuel market.
As year 2025 approaches, Nigerians have expressed hope for a year marked by improvements in governance, economic stability, and social services that will ease daily life. According to respondents, giving priority to issues bordering Nigerians will create a more prosperous and sustainable future for all. Our reporter, Adiola Oladile, takes a look at the expectations for the incoming year.
Conversations with BCS News about their prospects for 2025. Many residents of Ibadan stress the urgent need for government policies to address the soaring cost of living and rising unemployment. A recent graduate, Samuel Ojenride, shared his thoughts on the uncertainties and possibilities that lie ahead of young people in 2025.
We have been sourcing for jobs ourselves. Government can do that by placing people on job, based on qualifications, whichever criteria that will benefit the youth. Generally, everybody should try to be better next year because 2025 is really a year that we should learn from 2024.
Similarly, a trader, Mrs. Khadijat Adebayo, called on the government to prioritize affordable housing and health care, noting that many families struggle to meet basic needs.
We have a lot from the government. We want a better Nigeria. We want everything to be fine. We want the price of the commodities, food, in fact, everything to be cut down because it's not really easy in this 2024, especially on fuel aspects.
For some young professionals, they believe 2025 should be a year where the digital opportunities are next to empower the youth.
The situation we are in this country now is very tough, very, very tough. Someone has to be strategized and then add something to what you are doing before that can make you be a better person.
I expect government to make work available for our youths so that everything will be okay. They will not be a dependent. They will not be a criminal.
Some respondents, however, called for greater accountability and transparency in governance in the incoming year.
To listen to the masses. We have seen the ability of the federal government that is working, that all the things will be together and will be good for the masses. So we are praying for the government that everything concerning the earth, concerning the transportation, concerning the farmers, that God will help, that government should help the farmers so that they can produce more food for the nation.
Almost every area for fuel, scarcity of food, and other things that is going up to be bringing everything down so that everybody will be enjoying.
As the countdown to 2025 begins, Nigerians remain hopeful that the new year will usher in tangible progress and a renewed commitment from leaders to address the nation's pressing challenges. Adiola Oladile, BCS News.
The 2023 presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party and former Kano State Governor Rabi Kwankwaso has denied claims of a supposed pact involving himself, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, and Peter Obi of the Labour Party concerning a rotational presidency arrangement. In an interview with the BBC House of Service this morning, Kwankwaso stated that he had not communicated with either Atiku or Obi, emphasizing that he had adopted a policy of neutrality until the end of the year. Recently, some media outlets reported that Atiku, Obi, and Kwankwaso were forming an alliance in preparation for the 2027 elections. The former Kano State Governor reiterated his commitment to align the current federal and state government's focus on governance without political interference. Kwankwaso criticized the PDP for employing dishonest tactics, asserting that their primary goal was to manipulate regional politics to secure votes from the north, adding that calls for restructuring within the PDP were ignored, which led to its departure.
In the meantime, Kano State government has enrolled inmates in its healthcare contributory scheme toward enhancing free and quality healthcare services for those in custody. The Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Correctional Service, Kano Command, CSC Mushbau Kofa Nasarawa, disclosed this in a press statement in Kano. CSC Kofa Nasarawa stated that the Executive Secretary of the Kano State Healthcare Management Agency, Dr. Rahila Mukhtar, announced this during her visit to the State Controller of National Nigeria Correctional Service, Mr. Ado Salisu, in his office. Dr. Mukhtar explained that the enrollment of inmates into the healthcare scheme was approved by Governor Abba Yusuf so as to provide free access to basic and comprehensive healthcare services for inmates while in custody. She said the health and medical welfare of inmates are essential for efficient custodial management as well as for their effective reformation, rehabilitation, and reintegration. Responding, the Controller of Corrections, Kano State Command, Mr. Ado Salisu, commended the state government for its relentless support and assistance to the command.
This broadcast of Newscope comes to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan. The Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, NCS, Adewale Adeniyi, has said that through intelligence-led operations, the NCS intercepted several arms shipments, including 844 rifles and 112,500 rounds of live ammunition in Onne seaport. This came, as he said, that through the use of technology, the NCS generated a record-breaking 5.1 trillion naira in revenue in 2024. He said borders are critical gateways that determine a nation's capacity to protect its citizens, safeguard its economy, and foster security. He also highlighted how the NCS, empowered by the Nigeria Customs Act 2023, has successfully redefined its operational priorities to address emerging threats, enhance efficiency, and improve collaboration. Mr. Adeniyi noted that the Nigerian Customs Act 2023 represents a legislative milestone that has repositioned the NCS to thrive in a dynamic environment.
The Oyo State Command of the Nigeria Police says it arrested 153 armed robbery suspects, recovered 12 stolen vehicles and 12 motorcycles and tricycles in the last 7 months. The State Commissioner of Police, Ayodele Shonubi, revealed this while briefing newsmen on the activities of the command since it took office in June 2024. Staff reporter Adibayo Abdurrafi has details of the briefing which took place at the command's headquarters in Oluyole, Ibadan.
The Oyo State Commissioner of Police, Ayodele Shonubi, who used the opportunity to arrested for various criminal activities, said men and officers of the command are resolute in the determination to rid the state of criminal elements. Highlighting the achievements of the command under his watch, CP Shonubi revealed that apart from arrest of 153 armed robbery suspects, recovery of 12 stolen vehicles and 12 motorcycles and tricycles, stressed that 48 firearms and 1,396 rounds of ammunition were equally seized within the period between June and December 2024. He noted that the suspected criminals included kidnappers, armed robbers, and car hijackers, while in the process, weapons and stolen goods worth millions of naira were also recovered.
In furtherance of the above, the Oyo State Police Command is pleased to inform the residents that within the past 6 months and 11 days, it has recorded significant successes in reducing crime rates across the state. This was attained through a combination of intelligence-led operations, community engagement, and proactive policing. Within June 16 to this day, 153 armed robbery suspects were arrested. 12 stolen vehicles and 12 motorcycles, tricycles were recovered.
Among the suspects paraded as a result of recent efforts were members of a kidnapping syndicate who had terrorized Ashikwa community in Natiba local government and nearby areas. The Oyo CP stated that on November 9, 2024, the gang, armed with sophisticated firearms, cutlasses, and other dangerous weapons, invaded Ashikwa village with the intention of kidnapping the residents. He stressed that when the victims resisted, the suspects reportedly opened fire, killing some of them, adding that 2 of the suspects were arrested by local vigilantes while fleeing and handed over to the police. Also paraded was a suspected armed robber linked to a series of violent robberies across various parts of the state, including Erua, Oyo, and Ibadan. Among recovered items displayed were vehicles, electronics, firearms, and cutlasses. Adebayo Abdurrafi, BCOS News.
The 6th Division of the Nigerian Army has successfully dismantled 20 illegal oil refining sites, recovered 90,000 liters of stolen petroleum products, and arrested 8 suspects in a major operation across the Niger Delta. The raid, conducted in collaboration with sister security agencies, targeted criminal activities in Rivers, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, and Delta states between December 23 and 29, 2024. The acting Deputy Director of 6th Division Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Jonah Danjuma, disclosed these achievements in a statement issued in Port Harcourt yesterday. He confirmed that the operation led to the destruction of illegal refining sites, the seizure of stolen products, and the deactivation of 21 boats used for criminal activities.
And on the foreign scene, there's been an outpouring of tributes to Jimmy Carter, the former U.S. president who has died at the age of 100. U.S. President Joe Biden describes Carter as a man of principle, faith, and humility, while President-elect Donald Trump says Americans owe Carter a debt of gratitude. A national day of mourning and state funeral will be held on January 9. The former peanut farmer lived longer than any president in history and celebrated his 100th birthday in October. Foreign Desk Editor Bimbo Akombi has details of this and other stories.
The Carter Center, which advocates for democracy and human rights around the world, said he died on Sunday afternoon at his home in Plains, Georgia. The Democrat served as president from 1977 to 1981, a period beset by economic and diplomatic crises. After leaving the White House with low approval ratings, his reputation was restored through humanitarian work, which earned him the Nobel Peace Prize. Jimmy Carter, who prior to becoming president was governor of Georgia, a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy, and a farmer, is survived by his 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and 14 great-grandchildren. His wife, Rosalind, who he was married to for 77 years, died in November 2023. Since 2018 and the death of George H.W. Bush, he was the oldest surviving United States president. South Korea's acting leader has ordered an emergency safety inspection of the country's entire airline operations a day after 179 people were killed in the deadliest plane crash on its soil. The Jeju airplane burst into flames as it crash-landed in South Korea's Muan International Airport, killing everyone on board save for 2 crew members. Acting President Choi Sang-mok has asked investigators to promptly disclose their findings to bereaved families. His request also comes as another Jeju air flight turned back to Seoul shortly after takeoff on Monday due to an unidentified landing gear issue. On Monday, the Jeju airplane departed from Gimpo International Airport at 035 local airtime, that is about 21:35 GMT Sunday, and returned less than an hour later after realizing a mechanical defect caused by the landing gear issue. The aircraft that turned back was a Boeing B737-800, the same model as the one involved in the disaster on Sunday. And lastly, Syria's de facto ruler Ahmed al-Shara held talks with a senior Ukrainian delegation led by Foreign Minister Andriy Shibia as Kiev moves to build ties with the new leadership in Damascus. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said last Friday his country had sent its first batch of food aid to Syria, which is traditionally a close ally of Russia. Zelensky said that 500 metric tons of wheat flour were already on their way to Syria as part of Kiev's humanitarian grain from Ukraine initiative in cooperation with the United Nations World Food Programme. Ukraine, a global producer and exporter of grain and oilseeds, has said it wants to restore relations with Syria following the overthrow of President Bashar al-Assad and his flight into exile in Russia. Ukraine, which has been battling invading Russian forces for nearly 3 years, traditionally exports wheat and corn to countries in the Middle East, but not to Syria, which in the Assad era imported food from Russia. Bimbo Akambi, BCUS News.